All right, Commissioner.
How are you? How are you?
Good. Welcome to Holliswood Studios.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. It's I think that you're probably the first person that I've never met before that has done this. So
We literally just met about 8 seconds ago.
yeah, I like to get in, get it started.
Yeah, there was nothing social here. It was just boom.
Yeah.
Let's go. Put your headset on. Let's rock.
Well, I figured, I don't know you and I don't want to know anything, and I was like, well, we can have the greetings when we start.
That's good. That works. I'm good with that.
So good. I appreciate you coming out here. I was actually kind of surprised that, I've done about 8 or 9 episodes. I've got 3 or 4 that I'm recording this week, but I didn't figure anybody would be interested in coming on here. And then actually Hester told me that you would be interested, and then you reached out. So that was awesome.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Bert, and I just enjoy listening to his voice.
Yeah.
He's got a very unique voice with his little country twang.
Oh, yeah.
You guys probably don't hear it, but I hear it. Being from up north.
Well, we all notice your accent.
Yeah, I'm trying to hide it right now, but I don't think I can.
You don't need to hide it.
Yeah, my Brooklyn hasn't come out yet, but I'm sure give it about 30 minutes or so of talking,
yeah,
and it's going to start coming out. But
that's all right.
Yeah.
No, me and Bert go back a long time ago. We used to be neighbors, and him and I had a great relationship, and we watched our kids grow up. But Bert's a great guy. I didn't. It's funny, at the time, I didn't realize like how intertwined into the community that he was, because I think that I'm pretty disconnected from the community. Even though I've been here all of my life, I don't really know anything that goes on, and all I know is what I see online. So
yeah, I've knocked on a lot of doors. I've spoken to a lot of people. I've met a lot of people, and I've never met you.
I know,
and you have the face that I can remember. So
it's probably the big beard.
Yeah. There's a guy in my development that kind of looks very much like you.
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture later of him, but he looks just like you.
He's probably a good-looking guy then.
He's from Chicago. He's a good guy. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that, like I just said a minute ago, it's like I've never really been very social in Fairview or anything like that. And then, you've been here, 4 or 5 years?
I've been here. This July will be 4 years.
So you've been here for 4 years. You're like in the community. You got elected to be commissioner. And I'm just like, man, what am I doing?
I did. You know what? Wow, when it all started, it started even before we even finished building our house here.
Yeah.
We wound up renting an Airbnb for about 2 months, living in Bellevue, and then we went from that Airbnb to another one in Bonacqua, and then the house was still delayed because this is all during COVID, and then we ended up going to another. So we moved 3 times in Tennessee before we moved into our permanent house.
Wow.
So it was kind of wild, and the last place we stayed in Bonacqua was absolutely amazing. We were on 380 something acres of a cow farm.
That's awesome.
Now, coming straight from New York, I'm like, what is that noise? The woman's like, if you're gonna walk your dog, make sure you have something on your side. I'm like what? A baseball bat? I'm like, well, what should I have? She's like, well, you don't have a gun or nothing? I'm like, no,
get a gun.
We're not allowed to have those in New York State, especially where I live in Long Island and the city. You're not allowed to carry. You can't. Unless you're like a saint. You need a carry permit. You need all that. Forget about it. It's one of the many reasons why we moved out of New York, because of all their dumb politics.
Yeah, there's a lot of dumb politics out there.
Oh, for sure. And just being down here has been absolutely amazing. It's been an adventure, I'll tell you that right now. And coming down here, just the people that I've met with, and so when we moved down here, I got very involved with the schools. So one of the things that had happened was my son. We have 5 kids. My wife and I, my wife Deborah and I. We have 5 kids. 3 of which were one was in college. 2 graduated from college. One was still a junior in high school, and then my other one was what was she? 8th grade. She was 8th grade in middle school.
Yeah.
She was a cheerleader, and she loved cheerleading, and they said, hey, we're going to cancel the season. We're like, why? They're like, we don't have a coach. I'm like, So I told my wife, I'm like, hun, you should do this, because she's a school teacher.
Yeah.
I'm like, you should do this. She's like, I have no patience for that. She's a school teacher, but she's got no patience for teens and sports. So I'm like, okay. She's like, you should do it. I'm like, all right, I'll do it. So I applied for the job. I was actually a cheerleader in high school. I was a cheerleader in college.
Wow.
And until I blew out my knee playing football as well. So, and then I trained my oldest daughter. So I have 3 kids. My wife has 2 kids. We have none together, but we have custody of all.
Oh, wow.
So it's a little bit of a Brady Bunch.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
So my oldest daughter has been into gymnastics her entire life. She was an elite gymnast. She made it up to high levels, world gymnast basically. And then she quit gymnastics, broke my heart to go to cheerleading. And I was like, all right, cool, we could do this. So we started doing the cheerleading, and it just took off for her. She loved it. So my younger daughter kind of followed in her steps a little bit, tried the gymnastics. It wasn't for her. She wasn't that flexible. But she wound up going into cheer and just doing basing and all that stuff. So we moved here. They were going to cancel the season, getting back into it. She loved it. They're like, we don't have a coach. So I wound up doing it. I get the job. I coached that school for 3 years. My daughter was on it for the first year. Then she went up to the high school, and I continued coaching the gymnastics. The cheerleading for the next 2 years after that. And then also with my son played football for Coach Hughes, and then he also played baseball. And he quit football his senior year to bowl.
That's I wasn't expecting you to say that at all.
Right, yeah. No,
bowl.
To bowl. He's like, Dad, I'm going to do something there. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to go bowling. I'm like, all right, go bowling. He's like, no, I'm going to bowl on the team. I'm like, what? Hold on, time out a second. You can't bowl on it. Really, Brandon? Really? This is what you're going to do? He's like, yeah, man. He was like, I like it. I think I'm good at it. I'm like, Brandon, you've never bowled in your life.
Wow.
He's bowled like, socially, like, hey guys, we're gonna go to bowling alley. Let's go down. Let's go to Dixon, or let's go to Franklin. Let's go bowling. And he loved it, and he started doing really well with the team. We wind up applying to some schools, some colleges for baseball, but they said, "Oh, you're too short. You're too short." Meanwhile, he's like 5'9", 5'10", but he's too small. So he winds up getting a scholarship to the University of Mobile for bowling, and I'm like, be the bowler.
Wow.
You are now a bowler. So that's helping. My other daughter, she graduated from Morehead State. She also went on to Team USA, won 2 gold medals with Team USA, won 3 national titles with her college. She was second place in high school in her nationals. And now she's down in Mississippi, hopefully with her future husband.
Yeah. Hint.
He better put a ring on that. He's a great guy. I love him. And yes, Logan, you have my blessing. So she's down there, and she's coaching a high school team that she just took them to nationals and won first place in nationals for high school cheer. And now she's going to be coaching at not LSU, but another school in Louisiana. I forget, Raging Cajuns. I forget what school that is, but so she's coaching down there as well for the college, and then she's going to be doing a Christian school, or coaching there as well, and she's doing great. So my younger daughter, now she's going to be a senior next year, and she chose to not cheer next year.
Oh, wow.
I said, well, you're going to have to do something. She's like, well, I'm going to work. I'm like, okay. So now she's working. She's got 2 jobs. This girl's got 2 jobs. 16 years old.
That's awesome. She needs to do her school, but it's awesome that she wants to work.
She wants to work. She loves it. She likes school, but she likes money as well. So she's working at Jingo Java.
Yeah.
And then she's also working at Uncle Lenny's.
Oh, wow.
Washing dishes, doing whatever she's doing. So she's there, and we're just doing as much as we can as a family in our community. But so going back to how I got involved was with the with the cheer.
Yeah.
My wife is also a school teacher, so we always see all the kids out and about. And then I just started like seeing things on Facebook posts, and I'm like, this is crazy. So everyone's just posting things and just going on. And, you've heard everything with Bert Hesta, how he goes through, Fairview then and now, and he's kind of like just admitting everything. And I'm like, God bless you, Bert, really. I don't know how you do it.
He's out there doging everybody on.
Oh, my goodness. Everybody. But so he's out there doing that. And so I'm just reading. I'm like, why doesn't people do anything about this? I'm looking at the phone. I'm like, and I'm guilty. I've posted some things, and I'm like, why don't I just do something about it?
Yeah.
So I decided to talk to my wife, and I'm like, hey, what do you think? You think I should do this? She's like, She's like, well, you do so much already for the community. I'm involved in, gosh, I mean, at the time I was on the Parks and Landscape Board, for the city of Fairview. I was working up at the high school. I was working at the middle school. I do the announcing for the basketball games at the high school. I do the announcing for the basketball games at the middle school. I am not going to touch football because that is Bert.
Yeah.
And he is a fixture there, and that's, God, I love that man. So I'm going to stick with the basketball. I love doing it. I used to do radio up in New York, and I just like being behind. I'm very comfortable behind a microphone.
Yeah, I see that. That's good.
So you were like, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Just get, got the microphone in your head. Just get comfortable. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I figured you would be because I know that you did the announcing and all that, and also. Yeah. If you're even a political figure here in Fairview, surely you're fine with public speaking and things.
You see, that's the funny part because I am not a politician.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone's like, well, if you're not a politician, that's what makes you a good politician.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know about that. So I am not a politician. I never thought I would be in politics or anything like that. And I tell you, I've gotten into it and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Some people are like, oh, that's just not for me. But I thought the same thing. But getting into it and just going to events and meeting people, I enjoy it. I enjoy talking to people. Mm-hmm. I enjoy just meeting different faces and seeing how I can help Fairview.
So prior to what you're doing now, you've never, like in New York or anything, never did anything like this?
No, sir.
You just decided one day to get involved.
Well, we've been involved since the day we moved into Tennessee. And I was involved in some things up in New York. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Lee Zeldin. So Lee Zeldin, he's now on the... I forget what he does for Trump, but he works directly with Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah. I know.
He's always on Fox News and Gutfeld and all that. So he was a congressman up in and a state representative up in New York. He also ran for governor and gave Hochul run for her money. Let me tell you, he was very close to turning over New York State. And I think he should go for it again. I think he's got a good opportunity right now, especially with all the dumb crap that woman's doing up there. I got to be careful what I say, huh?
I don't know how you put up with it let me start off by saying I'm glad you're here. Bert and I had these conversations too about, the transplants that come in.
Right.
There's a lot of people like old Fairview doesn't like it a lot. I'm more of like come on, have a good. I don't blame people from coming from like New York or California because, it's just, in my opinion, it's too blue to live in that area, to raise a family the way that you want to raise it. So I get it. It's funny because my son actually lives in New York right now, and he always faces like he's kind of quiet about his political views or how he feels about everything. But he said since like Trump won the election and everything, it's like it's crazy out there. It's like people can be themselves now.
It's funny that you say that because. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And politics was never a thing growing up when, back in the 80s. It was never a thing. We didn't think, even in the 90s, we never thought about it, even wherever you lived, until you became an adult.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, crap. Then you started thinking about things, taxes and all that. So where I lived, people were very like, you kind of knew what they were when you were talking, but we never discussed politics, nothing like that. Up until Donald Trump was running the first time around.
Yeah.
Is when people started, families started dividing, Thanksgiving dinners and Easter dinners and Christmas dinners started turning into something very different.
Yeah.
And divided a lot of families. And I'm guilty of that as well. Some of my family members don't talk to me because they found out that I support, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Listen, you can support anybody you want.
Yeah. It's like, I don't care who you're supporting and any of that, but everything's so politically charged now and the 24-hour news cycles and all that stuff. Cause like you said, like in the 80s and 90s and all that, I know that when I became an adult, I was paying more attention to it, but it wasn't like, just in your face like it is right now. Every single thing is connected to, where do you stand on this?
This is
the phone. You're connected on social media. Everybody wants to complain about something, and everything ends up turning political when it's not. And then the biggest problem to me is like the small minority of people in these groups are usually the ones that get catered to because people like me or probably people like you are just I just want to live my life and have my family. I don't want to be. I don't want this person to think I hate them because I don't.
Right. And but I also feel so getting into going through the first Trump era, things were very different in Long Island.
Yeah.
You saw a lot more people standing up and saying who they were and what they stand for on both sides, not just one side or the other. So on both sides. And, I bought myself a hat. I started wearing it and I was proud of it. I didn't care. If somebody wants to wear a Nike hat or an Adidas hat, I don't care.
Yeah.
If I want to wear a Trump hat or whatever, Obama or whatever.
Yeah.
That's your opinion. That's your right as an American citizen. That's what it is. And do whatever you want, But I tell you, this last election was wild. My wife and I went to the inauguration.
Oh, did you?
We went to D.C.
That's awesome.
And I was borderline dreading it, thinking like it's going to be crazy. There's going to be so many protests and it's going to be just off the wall, right? We were so comfortable in Washington, D.C. There were people wearing American flags around them everywhere you went. And the inauguration was canceled outdoors. It went indoors.
Yeah.
And still, people were out there.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing. It really was. It was wild. It was amazing. It was very comfortable. We went to a hotel. We checked into the hotel, which that's the most expensive hotel I've ever stayed in my life. It was
I bet.
No, it was a Holiday Inn.
Oh, wow.
It was a Holiday Inn, but they wanted it was. We stayed there for 2 nights.
Yeah.
And it was almost $3,000.
Wow.
So, but we wanted to stay in D.C. because we were going to the inauguration. It's going to be early morning. I was like, you know what? It's cold. I don't want to walk too far. Can't park anywhere. We had no problem getting around D.C.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience.
Well, that's what's funny about all of it, no matter what anybody's political views are, because the reality is, like I said a minute ago, it's just that small portion of people that stir up the most stuff. It's like, I know that for me, like when Trump lost the last election, I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. Trump lost. I'm going to go back to my life.
Right.
This election, oh, good. Trump won. I voted for Trump. He's who I wanted in there. I'm going to go back to my normal life. It's like you see these people. It's like you see all these people out there, trying to burn down Tesla dealerships. They're mad at Elon Musk, who were a year ago were like,
they loved him.
You got to have the electric car.
He was their hero. He was like, Elon was like, could have ran for governor in California and won.
I know. And now it's like, it's all so twisted. And I'm just like, we're living in the upside down world.
We are.
But then again, I don't know if that's just because that's part of the reason that I started doing this podcast is because my wife's in school. I have 3 kids. One's 25, one's 21, and one's 18, about to graduate high school, almost 18 here in a week or so. And I'm just like, I have no hobby other than like, I just sit there and watch the news. Like it's on right now and it'll run through all of the shows.
Right.
All of the shows, all the way up to In My Night with Gutfeld.
We're the same way. We're the same way. And then we do it again tomorrow.
Yes, and then it'll be again tomorrow. And I'm just like, I need to do something. And I'm like, what's going to push me out of my comfort zone? And this kind of stuff pushes me out of my comfort zone. I do fine with it, but like, I just feel like I need to, I don't know, not necessarily be more vocal, but definitely have people like you on here that we can talk about it, and then people that know you can hear your feelings on whatever, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I have no agenda. I have my notepad here and I have your name written on it. I'm just like, whatever.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So I was going to write some notes down of like some talking points, and I'm like, no, I think podcasts don't work like that.
No, it's not.
No script there. It's unscripted. It's just.
Usually what I do is I'll put down like 4 or 5 like little things that I'll glance over at if things are going to start, if I feel like things are getting kind of low and I need to, stir the conversation a little bit. But I'm like, this dude doesn't need any of that. We can talk about all of the things because like I've got the New York connection. We can talk about that because my son's out there and I'd never been there before until a few years ago. It's definitely a lot different than here. So you were going from there to here, and me coming from here to there. I'm just like,
right.
This is very scary.
Where in New York is he?
He lives in Harlem, but he works at he went to school there to AMDA for acting, and he writes plays and things like that. And he's working at a bar called Pub Key, which it's been on Fox News a lot lately because I think Laura Trump was there a few weeks ago, and then the president was there during the election because they're like a big Bitcoin based bar. but he works there, and that's in Manhattan. So usually when we go, we stay in Manhattan, like in Times Square or something. But it's just
the touristy area.
Yeah, the touristy area.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like my wife and I will go there, and actually I took my brother there last June, and he never been there either. And like we're like the most amazing thing to us is like the subway system. And I like look at my brother and I'm like, can you believe that they've built all of this stuff on top of all this?
On top of tunnels.
On top of tunnels.
And it's funny because the tunnels are layered as well. So you have like different trains underneath each other, just crisscrossing and going all over the place.
I know.
There's like 10 lines just in Manhattan alone.
It's like, how do we do that? and like, because I've lived out here all my life, and I live a very simple life out here in the country. I mean, Fairview's a lot bigger now than it was. I think I was talking to Bert or somebody about how like before there's just like nothing out here, and the fact that we talked about the traffic and all the stuff that's going on, and it's just funny because when I rewind my brain, it's like nobody ever wanted to come out here. We were like the laughing stock of Williamson County, and now it's just like, let's go to Fairview. And I'm just like, all right, come on.
Yeah. And it's funny how we found Fairview too. So my wife and I decided we're going to get the hell out of New York.
So you don't have any you and your wife didn't have any connection to anybody. I was going to ask you, like, how did you land here?
We have no connection to anyone south of Staten Island. Well, that's not true. My wife has some family in Virginia.
Yeah.
Her mother was born and raised in Virginia.
Still not Tennessee though.
Still not Tennessee, but they talk just as funny.
Yeah, they do.
So that's the closest to Tennessee. And before even moving down here, I visited here one time.
Yeah.
And that was to look for a house to buy. I've never been down here. I've never been to Nashville, and I still don't like going to Nashville.
I know, but why? Why was it like I'm going to move to Fairview?
So here's what happened. So I'm also a project manager. I work for a paint contractor in Nashville. I worked for a paint contractor up in New York. After I got out of the city fire department, I went into the paint contracting world. Got there. I've been there for forever and a day, and I said to the company that I was with, I'm like, we're moving down south. He's like, where? I was like, I don't know, somewhere down south. We're going to figure something out. They're like, oh, okay. They're like, I was like, can I keep my job? They're like, yeah, you could, because during COVID, everyone's remote. All of a sudden, no. So he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. But we're going to have to set up some cameras. I'm like, all right, we could go camera. That's fine. I don't mind that. So he's like, no, I want at least 3 cameras. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, we're gonna put one to the right of you, one in front of you, one behind you. I'm like, wait, what?
To watch you?
To watch me, because I kind of ran that division, so they wanted people to turn around at their desk and be like, hey Don, I got a question for you, or hey Don, I got a question.
Oh, wow.
Really? Yeah, it was like that. So
I didn't know if it was like to make sure you're working.
No, well, that too probably, but I was like, you know what? I'm good. Thanks very much. Here's my 2 weeks notice. So I had no job. I'm like, we're moving down south somewhere. We didn't know where. So I was like, you know what? Let me find a job. So I started applying to cold calling a couple of places, and I was like, hey, you guys looking for an estimator, project manager, sales? No. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this guy's looking for me. Oh, this guy's looking. So I wound up meeting 3 companies.
Yeah.
I spoke to them over the phone, and one company I just was not comfortable with.
Yeah.
And then one company I was like, this is awesome. This guy's awesome. Really cool. I was like, I like his accent. It's pretty cool. Listen to this guy. We were talking, and he's born and raised in Brentwood area, and so I wound up coming down here. He's like, so where are you living? I was like, I don't know. I think we're just gonna rent and see what happens, But I want to buy something, because we kept our house in New York for my stepson stayed there for another year after we were up down here. So we kept that house up there as well, and he was staying there. So I was like, if it doesn't work out, we'll go back to New York, See, my New York's coming out. Yeah. I actually hear it now.
There you
go. So we wind up coming down here. I get the offer. I accept the offer. He's like, here's my buddy's number. He's a real estate agent. Tell him what you're looking for. I was like, all right, cool. I hook up with him. He goes, what are you looking for? I was like, I want land. I want property. My daughter has 2 horses. We want to bring the horses down. I just want to live in somewhere peaceful. He's like, okay, cool. So I come down here. He takes us, my wife and I. First place we come to is Fairview.
Yeah.
We visit with the builder. we look at some other homes that were already existing. I'm like, So he takes us to a builder, Old South, and I'm like, this is pretty cool. I just living on top of each other. It's almost like a townhouse, near enough,
Yeah.
I had more property in Long Island than I do here. My pool in Long Island was bigger than my property here.
Yeah.
Wild. Anyway, so he took us to like 5 or 6 different cities, and I just wasn't comfortable in any of them. Mm-hmm. Something was drawing us to Fairview.
Yeah.
So we ended up buying a house. We're going to contract with one of the builders here in Fairview at Cumberland Estates, and it just has become a dream of ours.
Yeah.
We built it the way we wanted it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We picked what house we wanted. We picked the colors. We picked the countertops, the cabinets, the bathroom. We picked everything, and we were one of the last houses that were able to do that because this is like right in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
2021. 21. So after that, they started going to the spec homes. They're like, "Yep, this is what it is. Buy it or not." So we got to design what we wanted. So it was really cool. And we built everything the way we wanted it. We got 2 laundry rooms. It was great. It worked out really well. So that's how we ended up in Fairview.
I mean, what's it like? Because when you were just talking about moving here, I was thinking to myself about, over the years, I've moved several times, all within Fairview. And I remember, like, I would base a lot of the decisions of where I was moving to make sure that my kids could stay in Westwood as opposed to elementary school, because I didn't want to make them leave their friends that was like 3 or 4 miles down the road. And it's like, how do you, like, I was too worried to do that. I don't know. How do you pick your family up from there and come down here? Were they all good with it, or was there a lot of kickback on it?
There was no kickback whatsoever. So my oldest daughter, Brooke, she wound up going to school in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I figured she was going to be the girl that's going to go to like FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology, or something bougie like that in New York City. She seemed like she was like a city girl, She loved going to the city, to Broadway and all that stuff, New York Broadway.
Yeah.
And she loved going to that. She liked fashion. She liked all that stuff. So I'm like, all right, so we're not going to move down south or anything, or Florida or anything like that. She went to school in Kentucky, Morehead State, because she loved cheer and she wanted to cheer for the best cheer team in the nation with 35 titles at the time. And she's like, Dad, why didn't we ever do this before? We should have moved down here years ago. I wanted to choke her out. Like, I really wanted to be like, oh my gosh, So we started talking about, my wife and I, and we're like, why don't we just do this? I mean, we were paying $13,000 a year in taxes, property tax.
Oh yeah, it's
$13,000.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Obnoxious between that, the cars, the gas, the oil, the electric, just everything to run the house. I was just about $10,000 a month, and I'm like, we're basically living paycheck to paycheck just to get by.
Yeah,
we're killing ourselves. What's going on? So, like, well, why don't we move down south? And she's like, my wife's like, let's do it. Yeah. I was like, all right, because there's nothing there for us, My dad at the time, he lived in Florida. Well, he had just passed away when we were moving, but he loved it down here in Florida. And she came from, her parents, her mom was from Virginia, and she loved down south, down Virginia.
With the kids, though, did they have any, like, were they like, no, I don't want to leave my friends, or was there a lot of that? Because that was what I was always worried about.
There was no pushback whatsoever, because at the time, the schools were changing.
Yeah.
Just the overall, the way things were looking, it wasn't looking very good. Put it that way. Things were changing. Crime was getting bigger in certain areas that we were in, because they were being pushed out of the city, coming out to Long Island, and then they were coming further out. And with all they were getting their COVID checks and all this stuff. So people were living very pretty at the time and just spending money that they didn't have.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now they have all this money. They're getting $800 a week from the government and living a great life. I mean, I'm sure they're hurting now, but they did silly things. Anyway, so the kids were at the point where they're like, you know what, school really sucks.
Yeah.
It's changing. We're having problems. You can't learn, or sports are different. Just everything was just different. It wasn't like when we were growing up or playing stickball in Brooklyn or anything like that. It's not like that anymore. So we actually became a minority in our area. So we were like, you know what, let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So we did. And the kids were like, let's do it. And my son loved it down here.
Yeah.
We talked to the football coach before we even moved. And they're like, oh, this kid's from Brooklyn or from Long Island. He's going to be good. He's gonna... And my son is a good athlete. He's a very good athlete. But coming down here, the boys are built different.
Yeah.
You know, like up north.
Those are country boys out here.
Down here, you guys are bigger. They're like men. You know. So, but it was definitely eye opening for them. But you know, coming to school for the kids is just. It was easier here. It was more comfortable for them. Everything was slower.
Yeah,
a lot slower.
It is slower. I always tell Hayden, my son that lives there, I said this on a different podcast, and he later corrected me. But I was like, I don't like that fast-paced lifestyle, and I said that he does like it. But then he corrected me. He said, I don't like it. I would prefer the slow lifestyle. But it's just that's where he needs to be for what he's doing for his career right now.
Right.
At least that's what he says. But yeah, it's much like. Even when I go there for a day or two to visit with him, you know, if he's got a show or something, it's just like all the things are going on. And I'm just like, I can't wait to get back home and like
relax,
do nothing. It just puts you on edge. It's like I'm just always on edge out there.
It does. I mean, I traveled into Manhattan, New York City. We don't call it Manhattan. We call it the city.
Yeah.
There. So we travel into the city. I traveled every day, and I was 2 hours door to door.
Yeah.
And it was terrible. I took the subway sometimes. I took the railroad. I would take cabbies. I would drive sometimes, and it was awful. It sucked. So
yeah, it's so expensive too. Like we went there just a couple months ago or something, and I think we probably end up spending just a trip for 24 hours costs like $1,000, $2,000 just because you got to take a cab or you got to do or an Uber or do whatever, and all the food's expensive. Beer's expensive. There's just like everything's expensive.
I remember going to the pizzerias and you for like $2, you get 2 slices of pizza and a drink.
Yeah.
You know, now $2 doesn't even get you a half slice of pizza. You know, it's like $5 a slice of pizza. It's like, oh my God, what's going on here? You know, and then even a dirty hot dog.
Dirty water dog.
We call them dirty water dog because they never change the water.
Oh yeah,
the water carts they never change the water.
Yeah, that's just keep on recooking
it. And then that's what makes it. So we call them dirty water dogs. And they used to be $1. Now they're like $5-6 a pop.
Yeah.
And if you want to get a Knish, a square Knish or something like that, those are like $8. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, you can't even afford to live on the corner here anymore.
I mean, it's kind of getting pretty bad out here too. I mean, not necessarily Fairview, but in Nashville, it's just like everything's just really expensive. I just think that it's like that, just probably everywhere. But
if you go to McDonald's, it's expensive.
Yeah, I know.
You get a kid meal, it's like $10 now. Whatever, like the $3 kiddie meals.
I know. I remember when the kids were all still here, and it was like when things were starting to get like really expensive. I'm like, oh, let's just go pick up something fast. Let's go to McDonald's, and it's like $40 later. I'm like, hell, that used to be fast food. It's cheap, you know.
Yeah.
$15-20, but now it's all doubled.
Not anymore. Forget about it.
Yeah, everything's really expensive. But but yeah. So you get to Fairview, you get your house built. So what was it like, you know, doing the whole? Since I guess I thought that maybe you had some experience with doing anything like running for commissioner or doing any of that before. So like, did you have to like? I look Google on everything. Were you like how to have a campaign?
No, not at all. Actually, I didn't do it at all. I didn't Google any of it, actually.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I was supported by a lot of friends, and Tony Bostic ran for school board.
Yeah. And
at the time, and you know, I was very supportive of him, and I started seeing things. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. I like this, you know. And I kind of learned from seeing what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then he hooked me up with a state representative. He hooked me up, and then that guy hooked me up with a state senator, and then you know it just kind of like snowballed.
Yeah.
And they really they guided me into the right direction. And honestly, I just want to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to be who I am. I didn't want to be someone fake. I'm not that typical politician that will tell you everything you want to hear and do none of it. Like I listen to people. I want to hear what they have to say, whether you live in the city, outside the city, in the county. I don't care. If it happens in the city of Fairview in 37062, if you live in the county and 37062, it's going to affect you.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. So everything that we do in the city affects the county as well.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, why don't you run for county commissioner? I was like, because you can't do anything.
Yeah.
You're one of what? 20 people, whatever it is on the county board, 24 or something like that. I'm like, I feel like I could do so much more for our city as a city commissioner. And I just kind of I did my own signage. I made my own signs up. My wife and I did it. Made my own handouts. My wife, I think, knocked on more doors than I did.
Yeah.
And I give her super credit for that. She was on the golf cart. We came through this neighborhood, and then I ran into this pig. There's a house down here.
Yeah, it's across the street here.
I knocked on the door, and all of a sudden I looked to my right. I'm like, what the hell is this? It was this massive pig, and I was like, I got to go.
Yeah.
So, and then things happened with that house. But
I know.
we're not going to get into that. I can't talk about that. But that could have been an ugly situation there. But anyway, so we started just knocking on doors, and I was talking to people and just listening. That's the biggest thing, is just to listen to people, and not just listen and have it go in one ear out the other.
Yes.
It's got to go in the ear and stay there.
Well, I think people in general, but especially people around here, know authenticity when they see it. It's like they'll call you out on it too. People are very vocal about things, and if they think you're lying or you're just giving them some kind of line, they'll call you out on it. So it's just better, like, for good or for bad, or if you don't like my answer, just tell the truth. Tell them what's going on with things.
That's it. There's someone right down the road here on Chester that had issues with their driveway and water issues coming down Little John, and unfortunately I had to tell them, I'm like, the city's not going to help you because the city feels that the water's going in a different way.
Yeah.
I sat there for an hour, and I know I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, but I don't care. I'm honest, and that's the thing. I want to be honest.
Yeah.
And I don't care what repercussions it's going to have, but I just want to do the right thing for these people, and I know that there's something that we could do to help.
Yeah.
I just don't know that legally we can do anything. I know we can't go on their property. She has two issues. One's further down the property, but one's up at the top of the street. And I really feel that we are able to do something about it to help her.
Yeah.
I really think we should. I really think we can. And it should happen. But that's just another thing I got to tackle. But that's currently going. But like that one issue, I want to help. I hear her. I listen. I sat there for an hour and it rained, and I witnessed this myself, because I was told by an engineer that, no, the water goes another way. That water she's having is just another issue. I'm like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, but it's not just that. It's other things. I get a call the other day from someone says, you guys are creating islands. I'm like, what? I'm like, the rain, are you okay? She's like, no, you guys are creating islands. You guys are annexing everyone into the city. I'm never going to annex into the city. I'm like, so don't annex into the city if you don't want to. What do we want me to tell you? I'm like, But if other people want to, we're not annexing them because we want to do it. We're doing it because they are asking us to annex into the city.
Yeah.
And they don't have big farms or anything like that some of them that are being asked to annex. They want the benefits of living in the city by having the police department respond, the fire department respond. Mm-hmm. They do it for tax purposes. They do, they're going to pay a little bit more in taxes, but they're getting so much more amenity for it.
Yeah.
Where if they live there, but the next house over is in the city limit, the fire department will go right past their house to visit someone else, and then they got to wait for the county to come, which is all volunteer.
Yeah.
And which, by the way, we need more volunteers. So if anybody's listening that wants to volunteer, go for it. But we just need everyone to chill out a little bit, relax.
Yeah.
We are trying right now. We have a different board today than we did many years ago.
Yeah.
Many years ago. The last board that was there, great people, some good people. I have nothing bad to say about any of the past board members that I've known. I've only been here for 4 years. I know there's been major issues in this in this city.
Yeah.
But I could assure you right now, those issues are not what it is now, what it was back then.
I think that I'm kind of embarrassed to say that, like, if you want to talk about like national politics, world politics, all current events, like, I can talk about it all night long. But then when I was thinking about you coming on here, I'm like, I don't know anything about the city stuff, because I think that when I was younger, when I was a kid, it was like the good old boy system here, to where it's like we couldn't do anything about anything. We didn't yes, they have elections and they do all this stuff, but like back then it was just like, oh, this person's going to do this and that. And
once they're in the office, that's it. You have no say.
Yeah, you have no say. And so I just kind of dropped it. I was just like, whatever happens, happens.
And I really hope that people don't have that feeling anymore.
I don't think that people do have the feeling. I think that it's just stuck in my mind, so I haven't, actively been seeking like what's really going on. I mean, I do care about the community and I care about what's going on with it, but I just haven't followed it.
Right.
It's actually kind of bad the more I think about it.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of things that are changing around this city, and it's good and bad. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. There's great things that are happening in the city. I mean, there's a lot of businesses starting to move in, only because it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Same thing with you build it, they will come.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy time out here right now, and the fact that you're here. In Fairview doing what you're doing with all this, like, I can't imagine what it's like to deal with just the growth that we're having and how are we going to manage all this moving forward, because it seemed like there for years, 20 years ago or so, it's just like, we'll just put this over here, or we'll put this, somebody has some money and we'll put this over here.
Right.
And now I think I read on your website or something like you want to do things strategically. We got to think through all this type of stuff because
we have to. Everything's got to be done with a strategy, because if you don't have a strategy, it's going to go to hell.
Yeah.
It really is. Everyone's like, don't Spring Hill us. Don't Spring Hill us. We're not the ones doing it. You know. So here's the process. If you own this farm behind you, this property behind you, which is absolutely beautiful view.
Yeah.
In 10 years, this person can sell that property to a developer.
I know. And we're hoping that doesn't happen.
And the city cannot say, no, you can't develop it.
Yeah.
We legally cannot say, no, you cannot do that. They have to meet the way we want it developed.
Yeah.
And the standards of the city, which we're redoing our ordinances right now, and should have them ready by the summertime to have new rules, new regulations, new laws to go by to build. So I think things are going to change as far as development is concerned. There's no more questionable laws or rules. It's like, well, you can do this, but you could do this. It's like, no, you shall do this.
Yeah.
If you don't do this, you're not doing it.
Yeah.
And if you want to do something different, okay, well, then you have to do this. Yeah. It's not like, you could do this, but you can also do this. So things are changing. Things are going to be very positive. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing, and I don't hide anything.
Yeah.
You can ask me anything. I'm going to tell. I'll be brutally honest with you. Some I can't speak to all the commissioners or the mayor here in Fairview of what they would say or not say. I'll tell you straight out, and that's what I was elected to do. I was elected to be the voice. Of everybody, and that's my goal. I'm going to listen, and I'm going to tell you. And if I say you're wrong, I'm going to be like, you're wrong.
Yeah. Well, and if you keep doing that, then everybody will be happy with you, because, like I said, whether the news that you got to deliver to somebody's good or bad, it's like I'd just rather have the truth about it than sugarcoating anything.
Yeah. There's a lot of things going on in the city, like we were just talking about. There's a lot of development. I mean, everyone's like, oh, there's dirt everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's dirt. That's all part of the building. It's going to happen. It has to happen. And that's how a city will thrive. If we stop building right now, we won't be able to pay our fire department. We won't be able to pay the police department.
Yeah. We
won't be able to pay our public works. We won't have a beautiful park. We won't have a lot of the things that we have now. You have to grow with it.
Yeah.
You have to, So is the sun getting you right now?
That's fine.
So
yeah, I think that it's crazy, and people don't like change. Generally speaking, people don't like it. But I think that once we get past the finish line on it, everybody will be fine. Or there'll just be something new to complain about.
For sure. So right now they have on the books that have been approved to go forward with development is 3,219 dwellings.
Wow.
Rooftops. Out of that 3,000, how many are actually going to be built? I don't know. I can't tell you that. They still have to come to us with plans and all that. But right now, I'm going to say probably about 1,000, maybe probably a little more than 1,000. Don't quote me on numbers, please. Have been approved to be.
I'm going to look that up here in a minute.
No, you should. You should actually. I should have been prepared, but so. Out of that 3,216, some have already been built.
Yeah.
Cumberland Estates is part of that. Some of Aiden Woods is part of that number. So there's all these different developments that you see that are still going up that are all part of that number.
Yeah.
So it's all happening. City Center is going to be massive.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, yeah, it's great. Some people are like, no, this is terrible because it borders Bowie Park. And, it's like, listen,
that's always a hot topic.
Very hot topic.
The park over there, people, I remember back when Miss Bowie was alive, and, when I remember when we got the land from her and you can't do anything around it and this and that. And then I think that what kind of broke the mold is when they put that Publix there. I don't think people like that. And then, just any kind of development around it, people are going to lose their mind about it.
Right. Yeah. Something that was very controversial was the police training facility.
Yeah.
That was very controversial. That was approved to be built. They already had the soil samples. There you go. Yeah, you found the sweet spot right there. Yeah. They did the soil samples. The city already invested $182,000.
Wow.
Into that piece of property. Now, Carolyn Roberts, myself, and Chris McDonald, we all kind of said, hey, why don't we pause this for 30 days and let's do our due diligence. Let's see, is there any other viable options? Because there were so many people pushing back. And they were in the county as well.
Yeah.
And this is going to affect everybody. It wasn't going to be the Wild West. It wasn't going to be a shooting facility for just anybody to go in. These are trained professionals that are going there doing this. It wasn't going to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, people shooting guns. Yeah, bang, 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 bang.
Well, I guess that's what I assume, because I saw on the Facebook page where people were like, we're getting a shooting facility out here. Well, apparently, I guess that's not technically yes, but it's not. They think people are just going out there, just shoot, popping rounds off outside.
Yeah, no, it wasn't going to be like that. Each police officer, when they go for their training or anything like that, there was going to be a 3,000 square foot training classroom. So it was going to be a training classroom. They were going to be doing vehicle maneuvers in there. They were going to be doing certain things, just how to respond to a call.
Yeah.
How to pull up to a call, just different things. It wasn't just going to be all about shooting, although the range was the majority of it, the property. So right now we found another piece of property in Hickman County, in Lyles, and we're right now we're moving forward. It looks very promising, promising that we're going to be moving the facility there.
Well, that'll ease a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, but you know what? But now does it affect the people in Hickman County?
Yeah.
It's going to be a facility kind of like what you have out your back window. There's 3 homes around that whole 10 or 11 acres that we're going to be purchasing.
Yeah.
We're getting a great deal for it. I would have bought it for what we would buy it for. And that now leaves the out parcel of Bowie Park available to do something. But here's the thing. We don't want them to just... We don't want the city to just build whatever they want.
Yeah.
I have ideas, and because this podcast is going to come out after this meeting this Thursday, so I can tell you what those ideas are going to be.
Okay.
So my idea is to make that an agricultural center.
Yeah.
It's 24 acres, and I don't even want to touch all 24 acres. I'm looking to about 10 to 12 of those 24 acres. I'd like to build an agricultural center. That agricultural center is going to have a horse riding arena. It'll have bathrooms. It'll have a concession. It'll have a stage. It'll have a parking lot, obviously. It'll have a welcome center. I want it to have a dog park.
Yeah.
I'd like to have also green areas that, a greenhouse. I've actually made some renderings. I left them in my truck. I should have brought them in to show you, but it's just some good ideas that I have to do there.
That will be a lot more pleasing to people, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. And here's the other thing. It'll actually draw more people to Fairview, to Bowie Park, not to live here, but to come and visit. So that'll help our retail.
Yeah.
That'll help our restaurants, or whatever else we have. Our Walmart, which, we already get people from out of town, out of the city coming here anyway.
Yeah.
You see more Dixon plates than you do, Williamson County.
I had that conversation, I think, with Bird, or maybe it was Brandy or somebody, that yeah, people like this Walmart out here because it's cleaner and nicer.
Beautiful, you know?
And then, the park stuff, people come out of town to come visit this park. So
Yeah.
I think if you do some kind of agricultural center, that'd be awesome.
So that's my idea. It's not a plan, it's an idea. And I'm sure other commissioners are going to have their own ideas, and I think everyone should come forward with their ideas. I did sit with the Friends of Bowie people this past Saturday, just before the Easter egg hunt in Bowie Park, and I pitched it to them, and I said, hey, this is what I would like to do with this area, because right now it is a junkyard.
Yeah.
It's a boneyard. We put our road pizza there. Anything that you see that carcasses is just thrown there. So, and this has happened for years. So you go there, it kind of smells a little funky. Maybe you can even find Hoffa. I don't know, but
yeah, you might.
Some of my friends from Brooklyn over there.
That's awesome, though. I mean, so you guys are talking about that on Thursday?
So we're going to bring that up at the Thursday meeting. That's on the topics for agenda for actually the work session. Is when we're going to talk about other things as well. But I don't remember if it's going to be in the work session or the actual BOC meeting, but we're going to talk about ideas for the out parcel.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to turn into the city just building, let's put a firehouse there, let's put a police department there. That's not what people want.
Yeah.
We have other properties that we can do things on.
Yeah.
But for that, it needs to stay something for the park. It needs to stay agricultural or just some sort of a sanctuary area, just something.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably going to be the smartest thing to do with that, just because it backs up. It's back over there. And no, I think that's awesome. That's a great idea.
But I'd also, I don't know if you've ever seen the entrance to Bowie, but just before the firehouse on the left-hand side, that's where our planning department is.
Yeah.
And behind that, we also have our training facility for the fire department. We also have public works. And all of that is within, I don't know, an acre and a half.
Yeah.
I mean, it is crowded back there.
Yeah.
It really is. We have a salt shed back there that, I mean, it's hard to maneuver anything bigger than a pickup truck. So we have to be mindful of the equipment that we're getting. So one of my ideas is to possibly put that division in that out parcel.
Yeah.
And have them so that we do have a tractor on site that can do all the maintenance that we need to be done in there as well. Have the parks department that we'll have a shop there or a shed there to have all their tools that they need for the parks, and to have the public works facility there as well. That'll loosen up the whole area over where they are now, and make that more available for training facility for our fire department or whatever else we need for there. There's so many ideas that are going around. We really need to sit down and just start executing these ideas.
Yeah.
We can't just keep on talking about it, and beating it down. And we need to start doing things.
Yeah.
Right now, fiscally, we are, as a city, are in a very good shape.
Yeah.
Not like it was in the past where they were borrowing money from the bank to pay payroll.
Yeah.
I think right now we are in a very good position. I'm not saying we're going to spend the money willy-nilly buying whatever we want. Oh, you guys want a new car? Okay, yeah, sure. Go buy a new car for the chief or whatever it is. It's not like that.
Yeah.
But we are in a financially sound area right now, with all the new development coming, with the permits, the income from the permits. It's going very well right now.
Yeah.
Our police department, I can't say enough about them. We do have 31 members of that police department, which is for Fairview. I think it's a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember when it was just a handful.
Yeah, probably. I wasn't privy to that. I would have loved to have grown up in a town like Fairview. I mean, I would have absolutely loved it.
It was just nothing, man. It was nothing. It just recently in the past 10 years came alive, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 traffic lights now.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I know. Well, I remember when I was growing up, I remember when they put when they put the traffic light up, but I remember before the traffic light, we got a turning lane.
Right.
We got that turning lane that turns into Chester. And I was like, we're getting a turning lane. This is exciting.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Because it used to be just the straight shot across town, and that was it. And there was nothing there.
So another big thing that's going on right now, everyone's always complaining about the traffic.
Yes, and I am complaining about the traffic. I thought when you texted me about like going to Jingo Java, I was like, I looked at my watch and I was like, well, he's about 20 minutes away, so he'll be here in 45 minutes because it'll take him forever to get 5 minutes down the road.
No, I was still here on time.
You were.
I was good. So the infrastructure that we have right now with 196, we have no jurisdiction over that.
Yeah.
That is not us. We have nothing to do with it. It is all the state of Tennessee.
Yeah, the thing is people, it's, Bert talked about how people are, beating them up about it, beating you guys up about it. And I think that at this point they know, but they just want to complain about it because it does suck. It's like, I hate sitting there. It takes forever. Like, I work out in Nashville, and it's like what used to be like a 45-minute straight shot home turns into like an hour and 15 minutes. And it used to be like, oh, thank God I'm in Fairview. And but now it's like,
now you're like, oh, God, I'm in Fairview.
It's going to take me forever to get to Chester Road,
Yeah.
But yes, I think that, I mean, we can't mention it enough that you guys don't have anything to do with it. I mean, is there does TDOT communicate with you guys on any of this?
Yes and no. So yes, we've had meetings with TDOT before I was commissioner, and then I've also had conversations with TDOT as well because I've been very active in the state side of the government as well right now. Just because I know people and I want to try and advocate more for Fairview.
Yeah.
Fairview's my home now. That's it. People are like, where are you from? I'm like, Fairview. I don't say New York anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, where are you from? New York. I'm New York. No, I'm from Fairview. You sound like you're from New York. Yeah, I'm from the other side of Fairview. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. The other side of Fairview.
From the other side of Fairview. Don't worry. Forget about it. Don't worry about it. We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
So 100 and Cox and Cumberland.
Yeah.
We're getting a traffic light there.
Yeah.
That started when Patty Carroll was mayor.
Yeah.
And we're just seeing, I don't know if you've been up there that direction lately, but they just started running some new piping.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that's going to be gas line, electric line, cable. All the infrastructure is going to be done. So that should be completed, I'm going to say by 2027.
Just to be safe.
Just to be safe, to cover my butt.
2027.
2027, I think, will be in a good space. That street will be closed down for a bit because it's got to be leveled out. Because it's real steep on both sides.
Yeah, it is.
So they're gonna drop that down. They're gonna plane it out. It's gonna be a little bit less the angle.
Yeah.
So they're gonna be shutting some things down. So we're gonna be cutting down on Chester a lot.
Well, they'll be complaining about that too.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's going to complain.
We're like, you got to do these things in order to make it better.
Right, exactly. That's the thing, You gotta, you get a broken leg, you got to break it again in order to fix it, know? So right now we're breaking things to fix it. Well, no, the state is breaking things to fix it. So, not Fairview. So, but we are definitely moving in the right direction. I can promise you that. I think right now the Board of Commissioners we're doing things the right way. We're looking at things. We're doing it the right way. I promise you that. We're listening to people, what they want, what you guys want, what everybody wants. And not everyone's going to get everything that they want.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do my darndest to make everybody as happy as possible. You can't make everybody happy. And if you can't make them happy, then feed them.
We want you to go sit through the meetings, and then we want to complain about it afterwards.
Exactly.
That's what we want.
So what's funny? What I do is when I'm sitting up there in the Board of Commissioners, and I don't know if anybody else is doing this or not on the board, but I log in on my phone, and I keep my phone on, and I'm watching the comments. For people that are watching it online, because some people can't get to City Hall to the meetings, or they have kids, or they just don't want to sit through that. A lot of people don't want to sit through. Sometimes I don't want to sit through that, but I do. And and I watch the comments, and I see people asking questions, and you know what? If I see a question on there, I'm gonna ask that question for them.
Yeah.
And I've done it, and I asked a couple of questions, and I get one of your neighbors here that's always commenting on everything.
I know.
So he makes comments, and he's smart. He knows a lot.
Yeah, he does.
But not a representative of the city.
Yeah.
Not employed by the city. But he does know a lot. I'll tell you that. I don't know how he knows a lot of it. I'm sure he's got friends on the inside. I don't know, but
maybe.
So I read a lot of the comments. I'll ask the questions for those people because they can't do it, or they're not being noticed outside of there, or some people just don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, I'm not going to waste my breath because no one listens anyway. I'm going to listen to you. Don Bufalini will listen.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it my entire life. I've been serving. I was in the fire department. I was coaching. I've ran Little League.
Yeah.
You know, I've started a Little League teams that snowballed into 17 teams. You know, I've done that. That was my governance. Yeah. That was as far as I went with governance. But you know what? I just want to help people. That's what I want to do. I'm a genuine person. I'm not going to spitball around, and I'm not going to blow smoke up your butt and be like, oh yeah, whatever you want, I'm going to get you that, and then not do it. And but I didn't tell you how long it's going to take. But you know, I had to give some people some bad news recently about, like I said, water runoff, and be like, unfortunately, there's nothing that the city's going to do right now to help you. You know, and I'm sorry, but you know, but there might be something that we can do to help another way or something. But you know, but I told them, I was like, listen, I can't promise you, but I will do the best to advocate for you.
No, I think that it's good. I think that it's really good that you're there during those meetings, kind of looking at those comments, because, you know, when you do stuff like that, people appreciate it. People appreciate that you're listening to them and you're curious. And I know it seems like you really want to know what people are feeling on these things. And I was like, on Friday, I went to go get my oil change, and while I was sitting there waiting for it, I was like, I need to prepare for this podcast, I guess. So I'm like, let me pull up one of these Board of Commissioner meetings, and I pulled it out.
How far'd you get?
I turned it on about, you know, I watched about a minute of it, and I was like, well, let me just fast forward it here and I put it in the middle, and I'm just like, I'm not going to watch this. So we appreciate that you're in there.
I at the end, we have a round table, which is where all the commissioners will say something.
Yeah.
And usually very brief, couple sentences. That's about it. It's funny because some of the other commissioners, they'll put their clock on and time me and be like, you went for 6 minutes, you know? And I'm like, listen, there's a lot I want to say.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people talk to me about that I want to say publicly so that it can be helped. Because if I don't say it publicly, it's not going to get helped.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm going to bring it up. I get emails and texts. I mean, I keep my city phone with me everywhere I go. And I get texts all the time from just random people who I don't even know. I mean, I just get numbers and they're like, hey, Commissioner, can you help me?
Yeah.
I get right back to them.
Yeah.
I don't wait. I don't be like, I'm at work right now. I'll get back to it later. Yeah. I will take that phone call. And if I can't take the phone call, I'll text them back and be like, I'm in a meeting. I'll get right back to you. And I do.
Yeah.
I get emails. I get texts. I mean, I get so much things. I just want to help. I just want to help.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. You know, I'm trying to pull up some things now, but anyway.
So at this point in it all, are you happy that you're doing this, or do you have regrets on it? Is it going the way that you thought it would go?
I have zero regrets. I love it. I enjoy helping people. Like when we got to the point where we were able to let the citizens know, hey, guess what? We're pausing the police training facility in Bowie.
Yeah.
And we may be in contract with something else. This woman cried.
Yeah.
Cried. And it was just, it's a good feeling to know that you just changed their life.
Yeah.
You know, and if I can help one person, I feel accomplished.
Yeah.
You know, with myself. It's just things that I've been doing. I mean, moving down here, I was born and raised Catholic.
Yeah.
Coming down here, I found a church. Mm-hmm. I'm over at One Church Home, mm-hmm. and I have a new family there.
Yeah.
I really do. My wife and I, my wife is Jewish, you know, and you know, she's reading more of the Bible than I am right now, and she is absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
You know, we as a family love it. I mean, our kids are going to church, and I think it's made our relationship so much better, and I feel like it's making me think clearer and to help people.
Yeah. We
just took a test because we're working on getting baptized, and we want to just know more as much as we can before we do that. And we took a test, and it says, well, you got to answer all these questions, and then take your score, and then put it at the end, and add it all together, and then that number, and then look at this list of things that we have, and that's what you are. Like if you're a disciple or you're a server or you're whatever it is, you know. Some people get like 3 or 4 different things that they can fall under. I fell under one thing.
Yeah.
Service.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I felt. And it's funny because I was in the fire department. I served, you know. I did the baseball up in New York, and I organized it. I went from 1 team to 17 teams. I served.
Yeah.
Everything I try and do, whether I know it or not, I'm serving.
Yeah.
The cheer at the middle school, I was serving, you know. It wasn't like it was a career. You know, you're not getting mucho dollars. I'm getting $1,000 for it, whatever it was. I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I wanted to help.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like everything that we've even talked about today is just, it's all been based around service to other people and helping out and, you know, volunteering to do all those things with the school and all that is huge. I mean, we gotta have people that do that because not enough people do.
Yeah. And one of the other things I'm doing is, you know, I'm trying to help local businesses as well.
Yeah.
I want to help wherever I can. I went and got my ABC license, which is a server's license, because I want to do things legally. I want to do it the right way. I don't want to just cook something in the middle of a parking lot without permission, you know, or permits or anything like that and get in trouble or serve raw fish and have someone get sick or whatever. You know, I want to make sure everything's done the right way and done legally. So I got my ABC license. So now I can serve liquor. I can serve whatever I want legally. I also went and sat down with the owners of Uncle Lenny's. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, you know, they've been in business for a little over 6 months now. Yeah. And, you know, they have their highs and lows. They've had great days. They've had really tough days. Yeah. You know, there's a couple of times that they were like, you know what, we're going to throw a for sale sign on the outside of the building and just done. Nice. You know, and I'm like, well, hold on. Before you do, hold on, man. I'm like, let me help you. Let me help you. And they're like, well, what can I do for you? I was like, I don't want anything in return. I want to help you. I want to see your business succeed because if you succeed as a business, we are going to succeed as a city. Yeah. And I'm going to be there to help you. I want to be part of that. Yeah. So I wind up organizing an Italian night with them.
Oh, yeah. I think Hester told me about that.
Yeah. And this happened, I don't know, 2 weeks ago on a Sunday night. And we did it reservation only. And it sold out within a day.
Wow.
170 people.
That's awesome.
Within 3 hours. It was a lot of, and I did all the cooking. Me and another guy, Anthony, we did all the cooking. It was Anthony, cousin Anthony's, cousin Tony's meatballs. Yeah. You know, and we had the commish, which was the chicken parmesan. We had raviolis and everything was homemade.
I bet they tore that up.
I really think that everyone enjoyed it, you know, because it's something different that Fairview doesn't offer right now. Yeah. We don't have any Italian dishes. And don't tell me go to Pizza Hut and get their pasta. Stop it. See, now my New York's going to come out. Yeah. But, you know, I've always wanted to open up a New York-style pizzeria.
You need to do it, man.
You know, and that was always my dream. My wife bought me a pizza oven. And not one of them little unis. I mean, I have a legit pizza oven in the back of my house. I also have one inside my house. We had pizza night the other night. We invited some friends over. We made pizza. I had them make the pizza. Yeah. I made all the ingredients. I did all that. I gave them everything. But I'm like, here's the dough. Here's the flour. Here's cheese, sauce, pepperoni. That's all I put on my pizzas, by the way, is just pepperoni. That's as far as I go. Yeah. I don't do any like meat lovers and all that. Yeah. I want you to enjoy the pizza for what it is. And I have a different type of sauce. I don't have the same sauce that you go to Pizza Hut or Domino's or anything like that. And we're getting another pizza place, by the way. Papa John's is coming. That's what we need. That Mexican and what else? Another bank is coming. Yeah. Because God knows we need to hide more money, right? Did I just say that publicly? I'm so sorry. Can you delete that? So we did the Italian night, and I think it was a phenomenal evening. Yeah. We have to work on the service because they're not used to that. Yeah. They're used to paying at the register, go sit down, wait for your food to come. This time we did a sit-down service. Yeah. And they had no idea what to do. You know, they were like, they weren't used to that. So we're going to work on that because we're going to do it again on May 18th.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, I was going to say you can probably expand it a little bit to outside as well.
Yeah. So
the weather would probably be nice.
So that's what they're doing right now. I think I don't know if I'm letting this out of the bag or not, but they're working on fixing the driveway up a little bit with some extra gravel, and they're going to put some benches outside.
Yeah.
So they're going to have some outdoor seating. So that's going to be nice, with the weather and all that. But the ambiance inside Uncle Lenny's changed a little bit that night.
Yeah.
It really did. We dimmed the lights. I had candles on the tables. I had uplighting with red, white, and green, for the Italian flag and all that. And I'm Italian, obviously. Yeah. But we just changed a lot of things. We had Italian music playing. It was a good time to come out and just enjoy yourself. We had wine, we had liquor there, we had everything. It was good. Good dishes, good people, good fun, a lot of laughs. Next time it's going to be better.
Yeah,
it's just going to get better.
My wife is Italian. Her name's Caprero, and so she knows all about all that kind of stuff. And maybe we can get in on some of that next time.
Absolutely. So being Italian, you want to hear a funny story? So I found this out maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. No, maybe longer, 7 years ago. So my wife's like, what part of Italy are you guys from? So my dad and all my parents are from Italy. So my grandfather was from Sicily. Mm-hmm. My dad's side is from Italy. Mm-hmm. And they're from Pisa, Rome, and Bari. So I'm Barese, I'm Sicilian, and a little bit of everything else. So, so my wife started looking up my history, and I knew that I had family that I still have family, the cousins and all that we speak to, frequently. So we go there for our honeymoon, and she's like, I looked up your family. I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So she's like, you have a chapel. I'm like, well, I remember knowing something about it, but my family never talked about it.
Yeah.
So my wife actually found out where it was. It was behind the Capitol building. So we went to the Capitol, we went to this church, and we found my family's chapel.
Wow.
And it was actually the oldest frescoes in Italy that were in that specific chapel. So that chapel, you're not allowed to go into unless you have a guide with you. Yeah. And you have to be either an archaeologist, you have to be a student of archaeology, or family member.
Yeah.
I'm a family member.
Yeah, you got in.
So we found out that it was my 13th great-grandfather. Direct lineage goes back to Rome, back in the 1400s. And he was an attorney, a lawyer, for the Pope.
Wow.
And he wrote laws that the Vatican still goes by today.
That's kind of cool. I bet you were like, man, that's awesome.
I was like, this is badass right now. I'm like, I am of noble blood. I'm like, see, honey, it is in my blood to be a politician.
Yeah.
So, and then we found out that my family has a castle.
Wow.
In the Tuscan region. So we're going to be planning a trip there soon. They've invited us there to stay there as well. It's most of it's a museum.
Yeah.
And it's pretty exciting, It's pretty cool to know about history going back that far, where people are like, yeah, my parents go back to the 1700s. Yeah, I beat you.
Yeah, 1400s.
Yeah, I'm 1400s, and my 13th great grandfather was he was like this with the Pope.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, And then just seeing the lineage going down, I'm like, wow, this is pretty wild. And we have noble doctors in my family.
Yeah,
that's wild. And my family back in Italy, they own a quarry. And they deal with quartz and stone and everything like that. So that's what they currently do now. And some are in the police department, and a couple of lawyers as well still there.
Well, I'm just trying to wonder when you have time to do any of the cooking and all the stuff. It seems like you're just always going.
I am nonstop. Something. My wife hates it.
I'm sure she does.
And not only that, but it's like, man, I love it. It's so much fun. The cooking, it's actually, it eases my mind.
Yeah.
It really does. I really enjoy it. I like putting smiles on people's faces.
Yeah.
That's
definitely will make people smile. Food usually makes people happy.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially here in the South.
Way to your heart is through food, right? That's definitely the way it is. It's just so many things that I want to do more. I run out of time in the day.
Yeah.
I'm not tired.
Yeah.
And I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, listen, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah.
But if I can help right now, I'm going to help.
Yeah.
When we first moved here, actually, there was, do you remember the floods in Waverly?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So my wife really, she's like, I want to help them.
Yeah.
I'm like, hon, we don't know anybody. We don't know where it is. We don't know who to give to or anything. She's like, listen, we are able to do this. We're going to do something. So we wind up going to the Dirty Bird.
What used to be the Dirty Bird.
What used to be, now it's going to be storage. But we went to Dirt Cheap, and I was walking around there. I'm like, well, we could just get this. We get sleeping bags. We grabbed everything that we possibly could. And the guy's like, the manager at the time, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, we're actually going to buy this, and we're going to donate it.
Yeah.
He's like, for what? I was like, for the floods in Waverly. He's like, oh. He's like, well, fill up your carts and then come talk to me. I'm like, okay. So we filled up, I want to say 4 shopping carts. Filled. I mean, sleeping bags, socks, underwear, shoes, everything we can grab, we grabbed.
Yeah.
Towels, soap, everything. We bring it up to the register, and I got my credit card out, and I'm ready to pay for it. And the he gets his calculator. He's like, he's looking at the carts. He's looking at the carts back and forth, looking. He's like, give me $20 for that cart. Give me $15 for that cart. Give me $50 for that. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I was expecting to pay like almost $1,000.
Yeah.
I walked out of there. I think I was less than $200.
That's crazy.
It was wild. I'm like, and I look at my wife and I'm like, this is why we moved down south.
Yeah, people want to help.
They want to help.
The thing is that a lot of people don't have like that mindset of actually doing the thing, as to where you're like the doer, and other people will get behind you and support all that.
Yeah. That's all I want to do. I want to help as much as I can, and I don't get tired. And you could look at. I've been tracking my sleeping. I haven't. My sleeping habit is terrible. I mean, I slept. My core was 3 hours and 1 minute.
Yeah,
that was it. And I had a 1 hour deep sleep. That was last night.
Yeah,
literally. I just track everything. So I sleep maybe 5 hours a night.
Yeah,
and I get up in the morning and I'm ready to go. Sometimes I'm sluggish. Yeah, I need a coffee or whatever it is. But once I get going, I'm going, and I'm nonstop. My wife's like, I need a nap. I'm like, I'm good. I'm going out. I'll get my golf cart. I'll just drive somewhere, go to my buddy's house or whatever it is. If I don't have something to do, I make something to do. I'll go outside. I don't know, power wash. I'll do something,
Yeah. Well, we got to have people like that in the world in general, but for stuff like this, working at the city and serving the city and everybody here, it's like you have to have doers like that.
I love it. I really, really love it. And I wish we had more people that would step up and do. I know a lot of people want to.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to do. They just don't know how to do it. They don't know the first step. I think if people could take the first step, and if anyone needs help, please reach out to me. I will be there to help you take that first step.
Yeah.
Whether it be serving the public or serving yourself, serving your family, whatever it is. I will come, sit down. I will talk with you. Mm-hmm. I don't care who you are, if you live in the city or the county.
Yeah.
I will come and talk to you, and I will sit with you, and I will listen to you.
Yeah.
Whether you have a problem or you want to praise, whatever it is you want to do, let's do it. You want to read a verse in the Bible? Let's do it.
Yeah.
I want to be there for whoever I can, whenever I can, for whatever I can.
Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome, man, and I think this is probably a good place to start winding it down, but I appreciate your heart for the community.
Thank you.
It's very much similar to Bert's. You guys are I can see why y'all are good friends, but
Bert's awesome. I love that guy. I love him.
But I appreciate you coming out. We'll have to have you back again.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And let's get those followers up, huh?
Yeah, man.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir.